Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Objection podcast. My name is Falcone. This, as you know, right here is Birdkeeper Toby, and we are good to go for episode 3. How you doing, Toby?
Hello. Do you know what? I'm good. I've had a really good week. I've just been really active, and in terms of my work schedule and my workflow, I've been streaming every day. I've been working on. I got the big project that I keep on referring to, the evolutionary one, over the last couple of streams. That's in the works. I'm just very excited. Before we jump into any of that, though, we should probably say, if you are listening to this on demand, either on YouTube or iTunes, wherever this happens to be, we stream this podcast live at 7 p.m. on usually on a Wednesday, 7 p.m. GMT, but currently we are streaming on Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday again next week because this week, Dan, you're off traveling, and then next week I'm off traveling. So Tuesday for the next 2 weeks, and then after that, back to Wednesdays, I imagine. Is that everything?
Not that it's a competition, Toby, but I am traveling a little bit further than you.
You are?
Going a little bit further.
I'm traveling the smallest amount a human can sort of travel to get to like another country. It's like an hour by plane to Amsterdam.
Well, to be fair, like there's Raven who's been in this stream watching a few times for the last few weeks. He lives in Manchester, and he very often has to fly from Manchester to London, and then from London to wherever he's going. Now that is a short flight.
That sounds like yeah. That also sounds like a massive pain.
It's like a 4-hour drive. Oh yeah, especially when he has to then wait hours in that airport for the next
check in, check out, and all that jazz. Yeah, and you're off to Malaysia, right?
Not
Thailand. Malaysia, Thailand. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way. I think it's the longest I've ever been. The flight coming back is 13.5 hours. So, Switch game recommendations, chat later on in the post show. We'll be talking about that a little bit. I did pick up, as we talked about last week in the podcast, I did pick up Celeste and Enter the Gungeon last week or the week before, and I've actually not played much Celeste. I've sort of been saving it. I've not played it since I was last on a plane. So I'm looking forward to picking that up again and carrying on.
How far into it are you?
I've literally done the first 3 levels. The last one I did was the hotel.
Oh, I'm in the hotel at the moment. I'm loving it, and I'm trying not to play it too much because it seems like a really good game to like just jump into for sort of like 20 minutes, maybe something's rendering or some projects going on in the background. It's a great game to just sort of jump into and then jump back. Or as you say, a travel game. I could see myself playing that a lot while traveling.
Yeah.
I can also see how the game. I feel like I'm going to want to run this twice, like once getting all the properly, and then once getting all the strawberries afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do as well. Go back and get the strawberries after. I mean, I'm getting as many as I can on the way, but obviously I'm missing the odd one.
It's hard. It's hard. I'm missing more than the other one. I'm missing the majority. I think I've only got about 5 of them.
Well, the way I play it is like, as soon as I see there's a strawberry there, I'm not going to stop until I get it. But if I don't find the strawberry, then obviously I'm not going to try and get it. But then when I've finished it, I'm going to go back and go out of my way, search every nook and cranny and try and get it.
It was a chicken recommendation on your part. You told me about it last week on the podcast. I came over to yours the day after and played for a little bit. And I went, yeah, this is good. And I feel like, we were talking about this before the show, I do this a lot with game recommendations where I'll play a bit around your house. Like, I'll play more of that. And then I never do. Sadly, the one, and I'm not saying it's a bad game at all, is Undertale, where I came over yours and constantly you were like, come on, Toby, you gotta play this with me, you gotta play this with me. And the story and that kind of thing. And every time I was like, yeah, I will play it, I'll go and I'll play it. And I never properly did. But of course, with Celeste, I'm like really addicted right now.
Okay, we're having very slight sound issues on your end, Toby. I've just stopped the screen share to try and reduce that, but we'll monitor that.
Is it tinny sound? Is it?
Nah, you went Mr. Destructoid there. You went a little bit robotic.
Oh no!
But hopefully we'll that'll be fixed in a moment. In fact, you sound better already, so maybe stopping the screen share has fixed that.
Oh, hopefully. Oh goodness, okay, that's fine.
So what is it that's so appealing about Celeste then? Is it its difficulty, or what do you think?
I think so. I think the fact that it doesn't, it's not forgiving to new players. Like, oh, you've never played a video game before. You know, it's challenging from the get-go. It shows itself off in terms of like you are confronted with a new kind of obstacle, like a wall that will sprout like lava or goo or whatever, or a block that you can use a special dash through or something. It'll present you with a new obstacle, and then in the next room, it invites you to kind of like Mario Odyssey did, use your brain to kind of go, okay, so how can I creatively get around these obstacles and that kind of thing. And I think it kind of rewards that intuition then with cool, you've now proceeded to the next area, and it's that clever level of like kind of game design. It's very hinged on the gameplay. The dying aspect, I've died hundreds of times, and even the game lets you know in between screens, it's like, be proud of your deaths, they're a good representation of how much you've learned, kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know, there's something in that realm, in the yes, I'm going to die a bunch, but it's all part of this learning and puzzle solving process that I think is absolutely fascinating. And then it just rewards you with also some really lovely characters and lovely character moments. The phone moment in the earlier section, there's a bit with a phone booth that I just found absolutely fascinating. I want to know what the story is.
Exactly, and I feel the same way. Like currently, I've sort of got no idea what's going on in the story. I don't really understand. I want to know who this character is, why she's climbing this mountain, what's going on in her life. But like you kind of fed just little snippets, and I really don't want to spoil anything for anyone.
Yeah.
Not that I know much anyway, but it's very, very endearing. It's very even the sounds the characters are making while they talk to each other, because they're not like speaking English. They're just making these sort of squeaky noises. Yeah, like that.
And then it's got the dialogue boxes come up.
But it's really you can really sort of get a sense of what emotion the characters are feeling just based off of the sort of pitch of the squeaks, and it's, I don't know, sound design is something in video games nowadays that I find so important.
I was going to say that even the sound design, you'd think in a platformer where you're dying over and over again, that sound is going to get so annoying, and it never has. In fact, the amount of times I realize, man, the sound is really nice in this game. Just the music is so either it's calm when it needs to be calm, it's tense when it needs to be tense. I mean, when you're getting chased by the there's a certain moment in the early chapters where you're getting chased, and it's just the music complements what's going on on screen
exactly
perfectly.
And I think having that sort of adaptive music in video games, it's something we're seeing more and more nowadays. Right from the very beginning, in the prologue or in the tutorial, there's a bit where you're just wandering along, you've just spoken to this old woman at this house, you walk across a bridge and it starts falling, and the music gets really, really intense all of a sudden, and you're like, oh god. And I think if not for the music, you wouldn't necessarily get that feeling of oh god, because you just keep walking forwards. But the music really does, it does a lot for the game. Someone in chat has said, a Paladin mode said, like Undertale. And you're right, Undertale also had phenomenal music. There's actually a lot of similarities between Undertale.
I can see that. This one, for some reason, just is appealing to me a little bit more, because I think maybe because it would at first seem to be a little bit more grounded in reality. You're just this girl going up the mountain, and then suddenly the game has started surprising me.
Right.
With this interesting, like the hotel keeper and the mirror, and there's all these interesting little moments, and then I'm trying to work out quite where we are and what's going on. And I think that sense of mystery about it, whereas Undertale I've kind of already accepted. You're told you're in the world of demons or whatever quite early on, I think, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that question of, and it's not a question that the game poses, really. It's one that I'm asking, that I'm encouraged to ask by the little clues left around the place. It's really got me hooked. I absolutely recommend, if you've got a Switch, and I assume it's on Steam as well, or on PC, get Celeste. It's £17 on the Switch. What's that, like, going to be like $20, $25? I don't know.
That, yeah.
It's for the price tag, I promise it's worth it. Enjoy it this week. I'm I'm so into this game right now.
It's great, and I cannot wait to spend like 13 hours on a plane playing it. Well, I won't play it for the whole 13 hours. Actually, a question. I doubt that you've played this game, Toby, but a question for Twitch chat, and I'll come back to this later on. Because I said, I'm looking to see how many other Switch games there are. Because there are a lot of good games on the Switch nowadays. More and more games are being ported to the Switch, and it's a really convenient console to have. That they recently announced the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is being released on the
Yes.
Switch, and I'm a little bit annoyed by that because I own it on my PS4, and I'm like, darn, the Switch would be a much more convenient console to have that on.
And that means that if they do the inevitable Spyro rework, which, by the way, again, I think I've heard things. I think I know that that's a definite. Yes, no, I have. Yeah, when they do the Spyro reboot, the trilogy, possibly this year, that means it's also guaranteed to come to Switch.
You've got such a bad. Whoever your source is going to get really annoyed if you see.
No. Totally different source, and they don't mind me.
Okay.
They don't mind me. I got multiple. I got friends in high places all over the place.
Well, if they release Spyro on the Switch at the same time as the PlayStation, that'd be ideal. I will buy it on the Switch instantly. But
I hope they don't do what they've done with Bandicoot and release it separately.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. But a lot of games are doing that. Anyways, the question I wanted to ask is: has anyone? And again, I'll read the replies properly later. Has anyone played Ukulele? Because that is a game that I really do like the look of, but I've heard so many bad things about it that I'm a little bit unsure about the £34 price tag on the Switch. So, like, I don't know. I'm confused. Have you heard of Ukulele, Toby?
I have heard of it, and I've heard not a lot about it, but yeah. No, I have. Like, I have heard of it.
I get that if I buy it and I compare it directly to Mario Odyssey, I think I'm going to be very, very, very disappointed. But then you can say that about any game.
Yeah, but I think given that you're making that direct correlation already, I wonder if you'll go in and immediately do that. You know?
Yeah.
If you'll be able to avoid that now.
But like the screenshots in the game look fantastic. It looks really beautiful. It looks like old school Spyro the Dragon type thing. I mean, Banjo-Kazooie is what it's sort of a love letter to.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I might go for it. It only came out on the Switch at the end of last year, I think. It's been out on PC and a couple other consoles for a lot longer. But I'd love to get people's opinions on that if anyone has played it.
Okay, well, we'll see what the chat has to say about it. Seeing as we're talking about games that have got announced, though, Smash Bros.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the announcement? You saw the direct? You saw the announcement?
I did. I saw the trailer.
Cool.
Very cool video. Like, because at the beginning it's just the Splatoon guys, isn't it? And
yeah.
You get the Smash logo. Actually, I think you see the reflection of the Smash logo.
Smash logo in the Squidling's eye, the Inkling's eye, and then it's that, just that, like, Smash Bros knows what Smash Bros is, where it's just Mario and Link, and it's the silhouettes and the flame ball, and it's like,
so good.
Oh! And it's like, oh my god.
Genuinely cannot wait for that game. And I've got a feeling that it's going to be the Smash Bros. I play more than any of the others so far. Just because of sort of the way, again, it's coming out on the Switch. Like, I did play the 3DS one a lot, but the Switch is obviously a nicer sized screen for the game. And just the way sort of my competitive esports mind is nowadays. Like, again, since we talked about Dragon Ball FighterZ last week, I think I've pumped another 20 hours in. Last night, I spent a solid 2 or 3 hours playing against my friend Sottle, with him just beating me over and over and over and over and over again, you know, telling me, you did that wrong, now you're doing this wrong. And I mean, I was playing ranked yesterday. I kind of got stuck at one rank. I can't get any further. Lost to him for 3 hours straight. Played ranked again today. Won almost every game. So, you know, losing is definitely a learning experience.
Well, I'm going to have to lose a lot to you then, and get good at Smash.
But yeah, that mindset, exactly. And I cannot wait to play Smash. My only concern is that it's going to be one of those Switch games where, like Splatoon, where it's like you only really want to play it online or against people. But whenever I could play Splatoon online, I could also play something like Fortnite, and I'd rather play that. Hopefully Smash will be good enough to rip me away.
Also, you and I have not played Smash properly in ages, because we would play, you know, on Brawl because that was around your house on the Wii, and we played that a little bit with friends. And then, you know, the Wii U version came out. We played briefly when it was on 3DS, but then the Wii U version came out, and I had no interest in playing it on 3DS anymore. But of course, only I got a Wii U, which is now, by the way, become, if it wasn't already, the most redundant console ever. But, you know, so this is like, but having it on Switch, we're going to play this a lot. I can tell we're going to play this so much. But yeah, I mean, with the Wii U, right? I bought for that console Hyrule Warriors, Mario Maker 3DS, Zelda Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD re-releases, Mario Kart, Splatoon, and Smash Bros. I think that was my full library. All of those games now exist either in the forms of sequels or like their originals in terms of the two Zelda games on other consoles.
There was the 3D Mario game, which wasn't good.
There was a 3D Mario game that wasn't good. Yeah, it's just like I can now play. I mean, I've since sold off most of the games. The only ones I now have still is Smash Bros. And Zelda Wind Waker HD and Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Well, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess I do own on other consoles, and then Smash Bros is now out on Switch. So yeah, basically a very pointless, sadly non-existing, put it in the bin console.
There is one, like buying the same game over and over again kind of feels bad, but the one console I will happily do it on a lot is actually the PC, just because that Steam library is not going anywhere, you know? Like,
yeah,
I rebought Resident Evil 7 on it because it's like, okay, sure, when my PS4, you know, in 5 years' time is tucked away, the wires are lost and this and that, like, my Steam library will still be there. It's as simple as clicking play. And so I have no negative feelings about repurchasing as long as I'm not spending a ridiculous amount of money. I did it with Final Fantasy 12 a while back. Final Fantasy 12 came out on the PS4 the remaster. And now Final Fantasy 12, I have a lot of nostalgia for. It was my first sort of epic adventure quest game other than a Pokemon game that I ever played and completed when I was back in my first year at school at Harroway. So we're talking like 12, 13 years old. So I bought the remaster on PS4, played it a little bit, but like, I don't know, finding time to play the PS4 for me is just a lot more difficult nowadays. However, that was like 4 months ago. They just released it on PC. I bought it again, and suddenly I'm playing it all the time on my laptop because it's just so convenient. I'm playing it abroad on my laptop because it's so convenient. So I have no sort of regrets for repurchasing it. My only regret, I guess, is purchasing it on
initially
PlayStation in the first place. Yeah,
I mean, and one of the wonderful things that they sometimes do about that, I remember Skyrim, which has had 1 million and one re-releases, when they released their special edition, the newest version onto PC, they just went, look, if you've bought it already and you have all the DLC, we'll just give you the special edition for free.
That's cool.
Which was way cool, and I expect more companies to kind of follow suit with that if it's just a 3D HD remaster or whatever else. They were just like, yeah, just have the same game.
But the other console I don't mind doing that with as much is the Nintendo Switch, because again, the portability, the convenience. I rebought The Binding of Isaac after spending about 50 hours playing on Steam. Rebought that on my Switch, and I'm playing it on airplanes and things, and it's just really convenient. I've spent like another 50 hours on it. Crash, I will probably want to, but I don't think I will, because it's going to be, let's face it, it's going to be the full price again. It's going to be £30-40, whatever. And I've already made so much progress on the PS4 version. I'm not going to want to.
You don't want to lose that
again. And
yeah,
it's just very awkward timing, unfortunately.
I mean, I'd potentially get it on Switch. I like the idea of downloading games on Switch now as well. Like, usually I love buying and having the physical box sort of thing, but the idea, again, is to do that portability. I don't want to carry lots of cartridges. I want to, you know, obviously with my home consoles, I guess I don't mind having the discs because, you know, they're going to be at home as well. But with the Switch, I just want to flip between games and just go, okay, cool, now I can play this on the go. I can play this
Downloading games is super convenient. It sucks that you can't then sell them on, obviously. That's the biggest downside.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the convenience is pretty big.
Speaking of the Nintendo Switch, we gave one away. And
we did.
Before we launched the podcast, the first thing that we did was like, okay, we're going to give away a Nintendo Switch. And it's been received. Someone in Malaysia won it, a guy named Abu. And he tweeted out today, and it's so cool that person, all they did was like a tweet and follow some people. And then they got a Switch.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
It's very cool. I hope he enjoys it. I think he said he was going to get Mario and Zelda to us, which is obviously really the first two games you should even consider buying as soon as you
absolutely
get a Switch, right? Mario and Zelda.
It's just such a good all-round console. Like in the console wars, it's so weird how the Switch isn't, you know, it's like, oh, Xbox versus PlayStation, but Switch, for me, Switch wins.
Honestly, I think that for most people nowadays, would agree that the Switch wins as far as games consoles go. Like, I mean, at least in the circles that I run in, yeah, everyone's going to say the PC is the best games console. But then when it comes to, you know, proper, like actual consoles, the Switch is better because it actually brings something different to the table.
So when does this get Fortnite? When mobile phones are getting Fortnite,
Yeah,
when
no,
does this
explain
get
that one.
Fortnite? Which, by the way, is a weird idea
So
of
I'm
Fortnite on a phone.
I'm a little bit more behind it now because they've announced exactly how it's going to work. So like mobile phone players will only play with mobile phone players unless one party's up with say an Xbox player, and then they'll join the Xbox servers. But like the mobile phone server for Fortnite will have only mobile phone players. There's not going to be like one PC player dominating everyone. So it's a little bit fairer. You only
But
get
how
matched
would
with
that
harder
even
players if you want to.
work? How would that even work?
Controllers? I have no idea. Like
Just-
PUBG is coming out on mobile as well, I believe, and like in China, there's already versions of it. Someone was showing me while I was over there.
these games are really going to change the landscape of gaming. I mean, the idea that just like it's just going to be people everywhere like playing Fortnite and playing PUBG just on the go. It's
Yeah.
nuts. You know, everyone's got Wi-Fi. You're just going to go and sit down and man, can you imagine if when we were at uni, we could have just been on our phone playing PUBG or Fortnite?
Oh man, I mean, we had laptops with us at uni, but they were Macs, so they couldn't really play games.
They couldn't play anything. It's true.
Well, they could play Tetris.
They could play Tetris reasonably well as a flash game or whatever it was.
There was that period at university where some of us got pretty competitive.
We got pretty hooked, and who had the most lines? I'm pretty sure it ended up being you, or maybe Joe. I don't know. Someone had a lot of lines at one point, but yeah, do you know? I think games like Fortnite will come to the Switch, but Fortnite's library, the Switch's library right now is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
You've got Smash Bros. Splatoon is a really fun game. I can't say I actually have time to ever jump in. Like, I'm never going to choose Splatoon over Fortnite.
Well, exactly, that's my issue with it as well.
So it's a fun game, but it exists. Sure, cool. If I end up at a party and everyone's like, "Hey, let's play Splatoon," I'll play that a couple times a year. Mario Kart's still there. Mario Kart is still a great game. You've got, there's Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition if you care about that stuff. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Celeste, and that's just the stuff. Undertale's on there now. That's just the stuff I play.
Mario and Rabbids is actually one of the highest rated games on the Switch as well. It's one of those, you'll find it on all of the lists which say games you missed that you should buy on Nintendo Switch. Like Mario Rabbids is actually on all of those lists, and for good reason. The game is sound.
The reason that it's on those lists in that it's something that people aren't playing though, I know why. It's because of the cynical people like me who are like, ugh, rabbits. I've never played a rabbit yet. I'm judging them based on the fact that I don't like Minions or Olaf from Frozen either. They're in the same.
They are basically Minions.
They're in the same box for me, and for that, I'm just like, well, I'm not going to play the stupid game with the rabbits, even though I could be missing out on one of the most fun experiences of my life, which is just shame on me, to be honest. I should probably deal with that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've definitely had a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I've spent like the last 3, maybe 4 days just looking at random ukulele forums and things like, do I want to buy this game? Don't I? It looks so good, but it's so expensive. I don't know.
What is it? What is it about?
It's just a platformer. It's basically like Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
Like
maybe you should have got it before Mario Odyssey.
Well, it only came out on Switch since Mario Odyssey came out, but it's one of those games where did you ever play Banjo-Kazooie?
I didn't know.
Well, I think,
but I've seen you play it. I've seen you play it a little bit.
Well, I think you're probably thinking about Nuts and Bolts, the recent-ish one. The old Banjo-Kazooie games is what it's actually based on.
Okay.
The closest thing I can think of is like Spyro the Dragon. It works in that there's this hub world, and then there's like 5 level worlds, and it's sort of like, because Spyro, you have your hub world and then you go into a level and you play that. It's kind of similar to that. It's that sort of game. You collect gems or whatever they are in ukulele, and you complete challenges and things. It's just a game like that. It's supposed to be like an old school platformer but with modern graphics. That's what they went for.
Man, I love that style of game.
Oh, exactly. And there's not many of them anymore. Like just before Mario Odyssey came out, I remember like Googling, are there any platformer games for PC like in the style of Mario or Spyro or something like that? And there just aren't. Like Jak and Daxter, games like that just don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Blimey. I mean, even Mario Odyssey, it's not so much like you're in your hub world and it sends you to little worlds. There are little sections that
Well,
are
I
just
mean,
like you take a warp pipe and you end up somewhere, but it's much more closely kind of
yeah, but
integrated into itself.
that's just like a small decision made in the game. Like that's less of a genre defining point, is it? Like whether
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
hub
yeah.
world or not. Like even if it's just level to level to level, but I don't know. I'm leaning on we'll get it for this flight, but I got like another 24 hours to decide yet.
Okay, and what you have to do? You're off obviously to Thailand for a tournament.
Yes, I'm off to cast a Hearthstone tournament. In fact, there was actually they made me make a video announcing that I'm casting this one, which was fun. You know,
Okay.
just a little 1 minute video. If you want to find that, if you've got Facebook, if you search for Hearthstone SEA or Southeast Asia, then and hit enter, then my video will come up as one of the top ones. So that's pretty cool. I'm casting that with a girl called Gia, who I casted with literally a week ago in Korea. My friend Soto, who I referred to earlier, who was kicking my butt in Dragon Ball Fighters, and a guy called Jano, who I haven't met yet, and very excited for that. There's a lot of top pro players going to this event, a lot more than I expected actually. There's a lot of people making the trip to Thailand for this, so I'm very excited to go and hang out and watch some high level Hearthstone. Yeah, that's what I'm up to, and I'll be back Monday for our podcast on Tuesday.
And hopefully I hang out on Tuesday, but if you're too tired, don't worry. We didn't get to hang out and do our usual gaming today because flights do mess with you.
Oh man,
I've got, again, super easy flight to Amsterdam. It's going to no jet lag at all, but
it's
alas.
so bad. It's the fact that I was away for 1 day because I essentially missed 2 nights sleeping as well. Like it's not even the jet lag, it's that too, and it really does mess with you. Like it's pretty tiring. But are you looking forward to your flight? How I don't remember if we talked about you with flying.
We talked about it a little bit, and that I'm just like absolutely terrified. But I am kind of looking forward to it and just kind of doing it on my own and kind of just going, all right, I'm going to kick this thing's butt. I'm going to go. I'm going to do all my own baggage and luggage. I'm going to get in the airport. I'm going to get on the plane. I'm going to not cry. I'm going to go in the sky for like an hour, and then I'll be fine. I'm going to not cry. I'm going to get on the plane. I'll do my hour, and then I'll land in Amsterdam and have a wicked time.
How long are you in Amsterdam for?
I am Wednesday till Monday. So what's that like? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like 4 or 5 days. So that. And it's good. We've got a meet up to anyone in the Netherlands who may or may not be listening. We've got a meet up on the 24th of March, 25th, 24th. It's the Saturday, 2018. Where in one of the parks in Amsterdam. I'm sure I've posted about it recently on Twitter and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm trying to go through a diet at the moment, but I know when I go out there, there's just these things. Do you know Stroopwafels, Dan?
Oh yeah, I spent like a solid day trying to find one when I was there in January.
Yeah,
I was struggling to find them.
Well, I know, and I know some of the people listening who may be coming. They tend to. Last year they bought me so many Stroopwafels, and I'm doing so well on my diet. And I'm like, because apparently Stroopwafels are one of the highest calorie, if not the highest calorie per ounce food that exists. I don't know if you know that.
I'm not surprised.
Bernie Burns was talking about it when he was talking about they did the Amazing Race, which I don't really know what that is, but I believe it's about traveling the world, and it's a show about traveling the world just with like your sort of brains and a little bit of money, and you got to see how far you get. And apparently they were saying that they had studied up, and Stroopwafels are the highest calorie per ounce. I think I can have like 4 Stroopwafels a day, and that would be how much I can eat in a day.
Wow.
that's my daily limit at the moment. So yeah, that's gonna be good. But I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah. But after you've landed on solid ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I might weigh a bit more on the way back and like hopefully not cause the plane to crash. But
if you weighed that much, I don't think you'd still be breathing.
I don't think I would be. I would just be sweating caramel. Weirdly, speaking of plane crashes, this month in the last 30 days, so apparently there had been like no commercial airline crashes last year, I think. And then in the last 30 days, there's been 3.
Oh, this is
Have you
great.
heard
This is
about that?
this is exactly what I want to hear.
What you want to
about the
hear?
flying I do.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Statistically,
I have. I've seen things in the
statistically,
news.
you're really good. Statistically,
I've
it's
seen
super
things
unlikely.
in the news. It's usually for like extenuating circumstances, though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
of course, of course.
it's not just your everyday flight from the UK to America crashing. Like, I think the most recent one was in a funny place, and there was one which was just a flight in Russia, so it would have been a very small aircraft that was and obviously smaller will mean less sturdy, which is why the cold affected it. But
Yeah. I mean, these things are always, you hear that and you think, planes are suddenly not built for flying. It's like it's fine. Statistically, given that there's been 3 and 30 days, we're actually all in a really good place. Yeah, because it's still like the safest way of traveling, right?
Yeah, and the other
Air
thing
travel.
you've got to think is every time something like that does happen, they're just going to tighten up security even more, make sure that
Everything gets
it's
double,
even
triple
safer,
checked. Everything's
so-
fine.
So
Yeah,
it's still absolutely safe.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, just super weird and freaky. That the world was like, yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing now. That you can go from that few to that frequent. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'm very much looking forward to faster air travel. Actually, I hope that in our lifetime or in the next 5 or 10 years they really speed that up, because like I said, 13 hours to get from here to Thailand that's a long time to be cramped up on a plane.
Didn't Virgin Media want to do a rocket that took you sort of like could get you from like London to New York in like 2 or 3 hours by just like
Virgin Media?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, not Virgin Media. Virgin. The air.
What have Virgin Media got to do with flight?
Virgin Media. They're owned by Virgin. Those guys, didn't they do something where they were like, yeah, we're gonna get you guys in a rocket. We're gonna send you up into space, and you'll be in London or you'll be across the world in sort of 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
and
possibly.
the thing is, everyone's like, oh, that's really scary, going up to space. Realistically, yeah, that does sound scary, but it's still no scarier than going into the sky. Like, I think.
Well, it's the idea that there's no oxygen up there, isn't it? When realistically, the speed you're traveling in the air, there's no oxygen anyway, even without going into space. But
you are equally screwed if a plane were to like crash and fall apart than if a rocket in space were to. If anything, if you die in the rocket in space, that's a little bit cooler because space. But like, and I'm sure these things will of course be tested and triple tested and triple checked and quadruple checked 1 billion times. But that'll be cool. That'll be cool if that happens in a lifetime. I think if I can get over my little fear of my 1 hour flight now.
This conversation's gotten very morbid. Let's talk about Fortnite again.
Yeah.
So,
well, do you know what?
Oh God.
Go on.
No.
Well, you first.
Okay, I was going to say we didn't actually mention that it's going cross-platform, which is very exciting. Oh, you may have done briefly just before we went live.
That's where I was going with it.
Okay.
I got a text from you essentially saying we no longer need to hang out anymore in person.
Well, the funny thing is, because at first I messaged you and said it's being cross-platform on everything other than Xbox, because that's what the thing I read said. This thing I read said that on PS4, PC, iPhone, like phones, Android, whatever, on all of those consoles you'll be able to play cross-platform, but there's no mention of Xbox. And then a couple of days later, I saw another link to another page where it said the same thing, but it said Xbox instead of PS4. So it's like no mention of PS4 on that one. And then eventually another announcement came out saying, okay, we've confused you all. This is what's happening. You just can't play on Xbox and PS4 together, which is so funny. Like it, from the outside, it seems really petty, doesn't it? It's like Sony and Microsoft just want them to buy their own console. So that like, nope, your friends have to buy an Xbox if they want to play with you. And it's
so not forward moving in terms of an industry as a whole for them to be like that essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's phenomenal. Obviously there are advantages as we said before to PC players, and like you say in terms of like you'll have to team up with me on Xbox. I'll have to party up with you before I can play on PC with PC players. Although, can I just opt in general?
No.
That'll be cool.
You
can I
can't,
not? Oh,
you can't just on your own play with PC players. No, like you have to join someone
who's on PC?
But it's very cool because obviously they know that someone playing on their phone is going to be at a disadvantage to someone playing on a controller.
Of course.
And someone playing on a controller is going to be at a disadvantage to someone playing on mouse and keyboard. Like they've got the kind of stepping stones going up. And so I really like the way they're doing it, the system, so that you only have to play with the harder people if you're specifically like grouping with people who play on that device. And I'd love to see if something goes wrong at some point and if someone playing on PC somehow gets into the mobile servers and just destroys everyone. I think that would be quite fun.
Oh man, it's gonna be nuts. I mean, that game's really taken on a life beyond, you know, what I think like PUBG ever did. It's no longer just a game. It's become a bit of a phenomenon beyond the sphere of, you know, like everyone is going to be playing it. Everyone?
I really think they need to hurry up and get esports on the go because, to my knowledge, they still haven't released custom matchmaking or like custom games, and they should really get on and do that while the hype's still there.
I was watching a video, possibly it was a Clean Prince Gaming. Hey, 3 podcasts in a row, we mentioned that guy. I think I was watching a video by him talking about how it possibly couldn't really work as an esport due to just the random nature of crits and random weapon drops and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I entirely disagree. I don't know. Like PUBG has definitely had. Okay, so I think the thing that makes it hardest, that's going to make Fortnite struggle the most as an esport, is the same as PUBG and the same as any battle royale game. It's that when you want to do an offline tournament like a LAN or something, you know, you have to gather 100 people together. You have to set that all up and everything, and that's a headache. And there's also the observing is going to be difficult. Like whoever's in control of where the camera is flicking between players and stuff, their job is going to be harder than the casters because it is literally their job to make sure what's going on screen is entertaining and followable at all times.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that makes it the hardest. As for the sort of RNG aspect, I mean, there are more random games than Fortnite that make for a competitive esport. Look at Hearthstone, for example.
Sure, yeah.
And you'll find that even like with Hearthstone, it may have random elements, but the better players do usually win. And that's all it takes for the game to be a good esport, right? The best players in the world winning.
Yeah. Okay. Question though. Okay. I mean, I agree with you. Smash Bros tends to be played competitively, no items, 3 stock, stages, small. But I always hear, and maybe it's just due to how ridiculous the items can be, but I always hear like people complain, oh, don't turn items on, that's not very competitive. And I'm like, but isn't the goal to play around the items? Isn't that...
No, the items are too crazy, right? Like,
yeah,
I think especially in the latest ones, like I'm trying to think. I've not played with items in Smash for so long that I can't even remember what they do. Some of the Pokeballs just
hammers.
Yeah, I mean the hammer's ridiculous. Some of the Pokeballs just literally blow up the board. Like, sure, playing around the items is something, but you can't always.
I wonder if there's a certain set of items where you could play. You know, like you could. I'm sure there probably are forums
probably
like these are, you know,
like things like the baseball bat are probably fine. You know, you can play around that. You can dodge that easily enough. Things like I guess boomerang and stuff like that. But it's like items that you throw at someone and like it just lifts them off the map and they're just dead. And like the thing that blows people away.
The gust jar. You
just can't recover from that. If someone hits you at that in the right way, you're just dead. So. I think it's quite different. Smash, I definitely agree, is best played without items. At least if
it's not like there's an item in Fortnite that's just suddenly, okay, the moment I've got this item, I've beat you.
Yeah, the moment I've got this item, Total Towers blows up and everyone in it just dies.
Although it does kind of feel like if I'm staring down the end of a rocket launcher and
to be totally honest,
I'm screwed.
To be totally honest, the good players will beat a rocket launcher all the time. In fact, I've been beaten by players. Now, usually when I pick up the rocket launcher, I think to myself, okay, I've won this game because I'm quite good with the rocket launcher and I feel like most of the time it's going to be all I need against people. But one game, I think it was me and one other guy left. I shot a rocket at him. He built a wall in my face. I blew up and died.
Yeah.
Right? Like, literally,
smart.
the way you beat rockets is just build walls. And if you can time it correctly and just build it as he shoots it right in his face,
close range.
they just win. Like, wall beats rockets. So, Fortnite is balanced enough. That's the thing, right? Items in Smash aren't balanced to be competitive. Like that.
Sure, they're just there for craziness and fun.
They haven't all been made with a mindset of making sure it's all perfectly balanced. Whereas in a game like Fortnite, unlike Overwatch with different characters and powers and things, everything is very actively being balanced, which is where the difference is there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think this Smash is going to be new, or do you think this is like a Smash 4 Super Deluxe kind of deal?
Just want to quickly reply. Paladin said I like playing Smash with just the final Smash on. I like that too, actually. I don't mind that.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it, because again, you can dance around that item and your opponent's going to get a little bit more powerful.
To answer your question, Toby, I hope it's new. I feel like it could be, because when did Smash 4 come out? Like 2014?
2014 sounds right. 2013, 14.
I
mean, it could be, because Smash 1 and 2 came out. Smash 1 and Melee came out only a couple years apart, I believe.
I feel like it's been long enough. And more to the point, I feel like with the announcement that they've made, with the little information they have, if they now come out and say, it's Smash 4 Deluxe Edition, it would be a bit of a letdown. Don't get me wrong, we'd all still buy it, we'd have a great time with it.
Yeah.
But like, they've built this hype and not explained what it is properly. That leads you to believe it's going to be something epic.
There's got to be new features. I mean, we're looking at Twilight Princess Link. That's not just, he's not going to be using the same items and equipment. He's going to be, and I don't think it'll just be a reskin, because if this Mario, for example, doesn't have Cappy.
Right, exactly.
Like, how is that not going to, everyone's going to go, well, this Mario should have Cappy. Why is he still using, like, Flood, for example? Interestingly, an argument I heard is Smash Bros. Is plagued with a lot of clone characters. So Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, whatever else. And people have complained about this, saying, oh, you've taken away slots. And they constantly said, no. These characters are additions. They have not taken away slots from anyone else who could be on the roster.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is what they can do now is Dr. Mario can keep Mario's current moveset, and Mario can have the Cappy moveset and have a slightly adjusted thing. So then these clone characters can potentially no longer just be, Toon Link can have the current moveset of Link, and if they keep Toon Link in it, and then Link can have his new Breath of the Wild stuff. So that's a really interesting, cool idea. Obviously, the Squidlings coming into it is a thing. I imagine we'll see lots of the same characters. They didn't name it Smash Bros 4 last time either. They just called it Smash Bros Wii U and Smash Bros.
Yeah, Smash
DS.
4 is just what we as a community
we called it.
As, right?
So I guess this will be Smash Switch. Should be fun to say.
Now, this probably isn't going to be Nintendo's priority, but I do hope that, I don't know what it is they'd need to do to achieve this, but I hope they manage to win the hardcore Melee fans over, because again, like, when Smash is actually played competitive, like actually at the big tournaments, it's always Melee. It's never the latest one. It's always Melee. It was definitely never Brawl. I think Brawl was considered the weakest in terms of
they made a mod, special mod, the M mod or something, which was basically make Brawl more like Melee.
Yep.
But yes, Smash Melee is the competitively played one. I don't know what the reason is that 4 wasn't played competitively at big tournaments. I think it was a very strong game, and it seemed to me. But then I'm on the outside of that circle looking in. I do hope that Smash Switch becomes the new standard, because Melee is so outdated now. It's great, but it's just outdated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to. I'm definitely edging my way into the fighting game community and sort of understanding it more. The better I get at Dragon Ball FighterZ, the more I'm sort of understanding everything. And it is like the way that I was talking to Soddle while playing these games. It's like we're talking a different language, a language that 2 weeks ago I didn't understand at all. Just referring to like these different moves in the actual fighting game talk. So, for example, pressing down and the B button on my Xbox controller is 2H. Because 2 is down and H is heavy attack, which is what B is on the Xbox controller. So like I've started, rather than referring to things like, oh, I pressed this button and this happened, I'm like, oh yeah, I pressed 2H and it launched you. Like, I'm actually speaking in fighting game language, and it's but it's like all of the things, like when you actually get your teeth into it properly, you sort of learn there is a whole community in there, and there's a whole world that you didn't see before, and then, you know, it's just
that whole process of learning and becoming part
and understanding it is the hard part. Yeah. Right. And now I'm just, like today, I've just been beating everyone, and it's been a lot of fun.
I bet. Oh man, that's so cool. That's so cool. I hope, you know, maybe Smash will be my game that kind of, even if not into the general fighting world, obviously we talked about this last time, Smash is not the same as other fighting games, but maybe I'll get invested in that world. That'd be kind of cool. I definitely want to be good at it, because I've been, and I know you're going to laugh at me, I've been pretty good at Smash 4. As Link.
That's funny, because I'm not
I'd
good
hate
at
to
Smash.
lose that because
I'm not good at Smash. I think I'm bad at Smash. And you think you're good at Smash.
I know I'm good at Smash.
You know you're good at Smash. I think I'm
know
bad
I'm
at
good at
Smash, but I beat you.
All the time. I know. I think
so something's not adding up here. Maybe
no.
Maybe my standards are too high.
I think you are good at beating me at Smash. I just happen to think I'm also pretty good at Smash 4. But just specifically not against you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends who you're playing against as well. Because, like, again, if you're playing against top-level Smash players, you'd get annihilated every time.
Of course, that'd be absolutely that'd be trash.
I sent you a clip once last year when I was at... Well, for casting Hearthstone, I sometimes go to large events which have a lot of different games in. And I went to an event called DreamHack twice last year. I went to DreamHack Atlanta and DreamHack Montreal. And while I was at DreamHack Atlanta, the Hearthstone stage was next to the Smash stage. And oh my goodness, the hype and the energy from the audience while the Smash games were going on. Like, you had, you know, like hundreds of people watching, and when one of the players was knocked off of the stage, they would all be cheering and yelling and applauding so loud, and it was really great to see. I don't think of Smash to be a game that has this sort of huge online audience, but damn, the audience is there. Like, there are people very, very, very invested in that scene.
I think it's very easy to, because it's such an accessible fighting game, it's very easy for anyone in an audience to understand what's going on screen. And to know, oh, hey, that's that character from that game. Cool. Yeah, I like that game. They're beating them. And, you know, it's very easy to know what's going on. Whereas I think with a lot of fighting games that I see, it's just a lot of blasting across screen and I don't know what's happening and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the accessibility of Smash allows a lot of people to get passionate about it and watch it. I do intend, when Smash on Switch comes out, to be streaming it, to be playing it. I know I'm primarily Pokemon, but, you know, Pokemon are in there. And I intend to, if I can get involved at events with it as well, whether that's as a player or as someone just talking about it or that kind of thing. I'm definitely, I think, going to be pretty passionate about this game. Honestly. Yeah.
Were there any other big Switch announcements at Nintendo Direct?
There was Splatoon DLC. There was Mario Aces.
Tennis. Well, that was already announced at a previous one.
That was already announced, but it was basically like, it was like, cool. So in tennis, you've got this cool move you can do, or this super move you can do, or this cool move. But if you don't want any of that, you can just play it Wii Tennis style, and just like with Wii Sports, where only basic moves are allowed. And I was like, oh, that's great. But yeah, that obviously looks good. What got announced? Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, I think, got announced. I'm not sure if that was already out there. Maybe it was.
Dark Souls is a thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Dark Souls on Switch. That got announced a little bit before, I think. Did, yeah. But yeah, that's cool to see. That's that's very cool to see. I don't know if that's going to be the thing that's going to make me pick up Dark Souls. I know I never have before, and obviously I know it's a franchise you absolutely adore.
Yeah, I'm just not very good at
it. Yeah, I don't know. I may pick it up. I may not. Yeah. I don't know. Was there anything that you saw that you noticed that you were like, yeah, that?
Nothing is reminding me specifically. Just the crash thing. It really frustrated me because it's like I would love it if I could have crash on my Switch, but I'm just not going to buy it again and start from scratch and everything.
I did say I'd get it on PS4. I am now more likely if I do get it.
Oh
on
yeah,
Switch,
for sure.
Of course.
It's just the obvious. Like if you've got a Switch and you've got a PS4, I can't think why you'd want to buy it on the.
Oh, they announced HD a remaster of Okami, which was a Wii game I never played, but had incredible critical reception. People love that game.
Yeah,
they
I
talk
remember.
about that game.
I never played it either.
And I think I'm definitely going to use this as an opportunity to play it because I've never played it. I've always been told, Toby, you love Zelda, you'll love this. I'm going to get into Okami. I'm going to buy that for sure.
Do you know when that comes out?
Sometime this year. Not sure.
I don't know, like you were saying this earlier, and I'm just going to say it again. The Switch is just such an amazing console. It's
incredible.
I was very, very cynical about the Switch when it was first announced, and when it was first released, actually. I remember seeing the announcement and thinking, okay, so they're doing a cross between a handheld and a home console. That means it's going to have the worse graphics than the other home consoles because it's got to be able to switch into handheld mode, and it's going to be weaker in power, but what they've done right is, to be fair, what Nintendo's always done right, which is just they've released very, very good games. The power of it really doesn't matter when it comes to a game like Mario or Zelda. And sure, maybe with slightly better graphics, Zelda would be that little bit more breathtaking. But the extra plus side of being able to take it anywhere with you is just such a huge advantage. Personally, I very rarely play my Switch docked. I almost always play it in handheld mode.
I've played it docked for about 20 minutes of owning a Switch. I don't play it docked.
But it's just absolutely cool to have the option, In fact, when I first showed you Celeste, for example, I docked it. We played it on my PC monitor, just so that I could like sort of watch over your shoulder while you played it. And it's just sort of convenient to have it an option. But the Switch is definitely a handheld console more than it's a home console.
Yeah.
But for a game like Smash, it's
just the knowledge that Pokemon's coming out on it as well. Big titles from other platforms like Skyrim have come over, LA Noire. I think Red Dead Redemption and GTA are coming over as well, like Rockstar's doing other stuff.
GTA on a Nintendo console? Ooh.
I think GTA might be coming over. I know Red Dead is heading over, and I assume if Red Dead and LA Noire have come over, the other one that they did, GTA, will come over as well.
I might actually use that as an excuse to play Red Dead Redemption for the first time.
Yeah, me too. That's another one that I really want. I never played it, and I've been told that only incredible stuff. And obviously, Red Dead 2 is on its way out as well. The Switch just ticks every box. I think the thing is the consoles. It's not to say that they become stale, but the evolution of consoles. How different does Xbox One look to a traditional Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube? It's all the same setup. And okay, Nintendo have thrown a lot of stuff at the wall to see what stuck, and the Wii and Wii U were very up and down. And then suddenly they got this console, they got it so right, and they've gone, okay, well, what are all the great games that we've done on the previous two consoles? We'll HD remaster, re-release those. That's great. So there's your Okami and your Smash Bros and your Splatoon and stuff. We'll invite other people over, and we'll create great original content in the form of Zelda and Mario and Pokemon. And all in all, it's just become like this phenomenal all-in-one console that I just love it. I
remember what sold me on the Switch originally, actually, because again, I was very cynical about it. I was very, I did not think that I would like the console at all. You brought yours over to my place and showed it to me, and it was the fact that you could just so seamlessly, put it up on its little stand, remove the controllers, sit back and play with the controllers in your hand, with it just standing. And I'm thinking, wow, like on an airplane, just put that on your plane table, lean back, got the controllers, play like that. I don't know, just how seamless it all was, how easy to use it all looked. It really, I don't know, that's what won me over.
And I think that first advert they did, where they showed it being used on a plane, they really tell me that every time you get on a train and a plane, I don't know, maybe you don't, but I think about that advert every time I sit down and I open it up. I'm like, oh, I'm like the guy from the Switch advert, They advertising and marketing was great. They announced it and brought it out really quickly,
Yeah.
right? It was like within the space of like 6 months, it was out. They've just released good game after good game. They're re-releasing good games and updating the library. It's got such a great roster. When you compare that to the releases of the Xbox and the PlayStation, it's just no content, no contest.
There's a
This
lot of
console
content.
is going to stick around. Yeah, there's a lot of content, but it's no contest.
Yeah, I mean, and
this
again,
console,
PlayStation and Xbox, the issue is, like, I've got my PC here. I'm using my PC anyway. Like, if I'm playing a games console, my PC will be on as well. And it's just sort of like, well, I could lean down, turn on my Xbox, put in the right disc, find the control. Like, I could do all of that. Or I could just click on Steam, click play, and start playing. Like, I don't know. It's just, that's convenient. So it's sort of...
And how long? Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, so it sort of renders the consoles irrelevant unless there's an exclusive I want to play on them. But the Switch obviously fills a different niche, which is, it's the portability.
And just wait until they port DS games onto this. You know, that'll be the next, where it will be once the DS is truly completely dead. I was even surprised that they were announcing DS games. Yeah. There was a new WarioWare game that they announced. That looked kind of fun.
I'm sad that's on DS, yeah.
I'm sad that's on DS. But let's just wait until they go, okay, cool, we're now going to introduce the DS Virtual Console, and we'll have Mario Maker from the 3DS, and we'll have WarioWare from the 3DS, and we'll have Phoenix Wright, and we'll have Pokemon, and we'll have, you know, a bunch of Game Boy games as well. Every handheld game ever could be built into this.
All of the Phoenix Wright games are actually available on iOS now, so I don't even think that's necessary anymore. But yeah, I know, I see your point. Honestly, I really would love it if they released Mario Galaxy on the Switch. That's my biggest game that I want to see.
Oh, that would be cool. If they released 1 and 2 on the Switch, I'd buy that. I'd buy that so quickly.
I wouldn't even think twice about purchasing Mario Galaxy on Switch.
That'd be so good.
A bunch of people in chat have brought up LA Noire. Like, they seem to really be a big fan of that game. What do you think about LA Noire, Toby?
I really enjoyed it. When we played it, I remember really thoroughly enjoying it. I did not complete it. I don't remember too much of the story. There was the Black Dahlia, I think, and it was quite a graphic game from what I remember. But it was fun. What about you?
I definitely remember enjoying it at first. My issue with LA Noire was that it got very repetitive. If I remember rightly, like there were like 3 or 4 different gameplay segments. You'd be the bit where you're going, trying to chase someone. You'd be a little car driving bit. There'd be an interrogation bit, and there'd be a searching crime scene bit. And you sort of just repeated those steps for the different cases. And I definitely didn't finish it. I remember just finding it a little bit tedious eventually, but a very, very fun idea. I would love to see sort of a refined sequel where they worked a little bit harder to make it feel less repetitive. But I haven't purchased LA Noire on my Switch, and it's not actually on my watch list, really. Sorry for everyone who I've just offended by insulting LA Noire.
Just I saw that come out, and I just thought, well, they're just testing the waters for Red Dead and GTA, and obviously, I think in content, LA Noire is as graphic in different kinds of way, where it's not so much you perpetrating all the different crimes. It's obviously it's obviously the criminals. Does the Switch have good storage? Does it have like can I hold a lot of games on this?
It's SD cards, right? I've actually got a lot of games on my Switch. In fact, I must be close to running out of space, to be honest.
Is it SD card? Yes. No, it's not SD cards. I'm looking at mine right now. Where do you store? Is it just built-in memory?
But I archived a couple of my Switch games when I bought the last few. Like, I think I archived Splatoon 2 and I archived one other, which sort of temporarily deletes them, but you can just re-download them if you want.
Right. Okay. Cool. And you have all your data. That's cool. Yeah. I think we're likely to see in the next year and a half other iterations of the Switch. I think we're probably likely to go down that direction, but that's very speculative. I think it's still a very premium console. It's becoming more accessible. I think more people are owning it, but it is still, it's still a sort of full price console. That kind of thing.
That's the one thing I don't like about the Switch. And the reason that they're continuing to release games on the DS, I guess, is because they don't necessarily consider the Switch as much a family console or a child's console as the DS. Like,
it's not. Yeah,
But like,
it's not as accessible yet. Not
at the
everyone has
same
one yet.
at the same time, the Switch is probably the best family console. You know, with games like Mario, like Zelda, etc. The fact that it's got that dock and you can play it around the TV and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, SD card slot is hidden beneath the stand. I thought
Beneath
so.
the stand.
I thought so.
Okay.
Thank you, Daneth.
Say what? So do I have? I don't even have one in there.
Well, there you go. You've
So
got all the
mine's-
storage in the world. You just need to buy one.
That's exciting. Didn't know that was there. Wow, discovering something new. With that, I don't know about you. Is there anything you wanted to talk about more in the main show?
I think that we've pretty much turned today's main show into we both love the Nintendo Switch.
Love
and
the
this is
Switch.
why.
Yeah.
PS Fortnite, and I'm good to end when you are.
Yeah, I think that's enough for the main show. So with that, if you are listening to this on demand, you're listening to this on YouTube, iTunes, or whatever other service you've grabbed it on. We stream this podcast live on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. GMT over on my Twitch. That's twitch.tv/BerkeyVitobi. Usually it's Wednesdays. This, obviously, today we're streaming, and the next week it's a Tuesday. But after that, I imagine we'll return to Wednesdays. Again, if you want to find out when we're streaming, the best place to follow us is on Twitter. My Twitter, of course, is at BirdKeeperToby.
And my Twitter is at FalconiHS.
And with that, we will see you next week. Feel free to tweet us your questions. And yes, for those of you live, stay tuned for the post show.